Hi, this is Dave Michael with the Greater Pickens Chamber of Commerce, and today we have our second installment of the Faces of Pickens. Today we have a very unique individual here, and it's Dr. Tiffany Osina, right?
Orsina.
Orsina.
Think John Cena and add the or.
Add the or. All right. You actually have two businesses here in Pickens, right?
I do. I started with Nexus Chiropractic.
Okay.
On Main Street in 2021.
Okay.
And I opened the Down Low right next door just this past April.
Okay. So just about 1 year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Was it last the Israeli Festival? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess with those, tell us a little bit also about you. Where are you from originally?
I am originally from just a little bit north of Columbus, Ohio. For all intents and purposes, I call Columbus home.
Okay.
I moved to South Carolina in 2016 for chiropractic school.
Okay.
I spent my first 5 years in Greenville and moved over to Pickens in October of 2021.
Where'd you go to chiropractic school at?
Sherman College
Okay.
in Spartanburg.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And you've been here, so total what, how many years then?
9 years in South Carolina. Yeah, 9 years in South Carolina, working on my fourth year here in Pickens.
Okay. What brought you to Pickens? Why did you know?
So when I was halfway through chiropractic school, I actually took 6 months off and got my EMT and firefighter certifications.
Okay.
When I did that, I had heard really good things about Pickens County EMS. And so I had applied there and started working part-time for them while I finished my chiropractic degree.
Okay.
In doing so, I fell in love with Pickens County, knew that this is where I wanted to be in the long term. So when the opportunity arose, I took it.
Cool. How'd the EMS work out with the chiropractic? Did that help you out with that?
So, when I got my EMT and fire certs, I took that 6 months off, and I was at a major crossroads because I really fell in love with the first responder community.
Yeah.
I had always had a ton of respect for first responders, but being one is entirely different. Really is.
It's different than on TV?
Yeah.
That thing?
I really was at a crossroads and decided that I needed to go ahead and finish my chiropractic degree.
Yeah.
And I knew that some way, somehow, the two would meld. I ended up making first responders a target market of mine.
Okay.
And in starting my practice, they made up the bulk of my clientele.
And so it's still to this day, do you still see a bunch of them? Okay.
I do. I offer a pretty substantial first responder discount.
Okay.
Love my first responder community.
Yeah.
Love my first
Still plugged into that community then. And,
Absolutely. 100%.
and so they get that rapport, I guess, with them.
Correct.
And they start knowing each other and be able to answer that.
Absolutely.
As far as with chiropractic, what is it? What do you do? Why should people come see a chiropractor?
Chiropractic is maintenance of the body's nervous system.
Okay.
So your nervous system is comprised of your brain and your spinal cord.
Okay.
Right? So what houses your brain and your spinal cord? Your spinal column.
Okay.
So any small misalignment of that spinal column is going to compromise your nervous system. And what does your nervous system do? Absolutely everything. Everything in your body is controlled by the nervous system. So it may not be something that you feel every day now, here in this moment, but somewhere down the road, you're going to start to get the aches and the pains. And once you've started to get the aches and the pains, we've got some backpedaling to do.
Okay. And I guess that's the thing is like you always hear like everybody's like, okay, well, I don't have back pain, so I don't need to see a chiropractor.
I am very much a wellness practitioner. So I am of the mind that chiropractic is something that belongs in everyone's wellness regime. Much the same as going to the gym, eating healthfully, going to your annual physicals. Chiropractic is something that should be maintained. No different than maintaining the alignment on your car. It's in essence what I'm doing is maintaining the alignment for your nervous system.
And with that, there was some, and forgive me, I behind your name, there's like, is it MS or something like that?
Yeah, I have a master's in sports leadership.
Okay.
I have a bachelor's in health promotion fitness.
Okay, so just not a chiropractor. You've got other things.
So I actually have a bachelor's in health promotion and fitness. I owned a gym in Ohio before I moved down here. Felt like I had kind of capped out on what I was doing in that world.
Yeah.
Wanted to take my knowledge to the next level. And so started looking into how to advance my own personal knowledge of the human body. And so
is that is that where the drive to become a chiropractor came from, or how did
100%.
it how did so I mean just real quick, how did you decide to become a chiropractor?
Yeah. So when I was in my gym in Ohio, the gentleman that we purchased the gym from, he had gotten a degree in exercise science back in the 70s.
Okay.
And apparently he was taught how to do field adjustments on people.
I'm guessing he was not a chiropractor or a doctor or anything like that.
Not
Okay.
even close.
Gotcha.
Nothing even close. Probably what your friends are doing when they're, picking up your spine.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
adjustment.
Hearing pops and cracks and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had actually gotten in the habit of letting him adjust me pretty regularly. And I took an appreciation for, oh, hey, I feel pretty good. And from a structural standpoint, I could see how that benefited me in the gym. It benefited my lifts. It benefited my body. Physically. It wasn't until I actually went to chiropractic school that I learned how deep chiropractic actually runs and how much it can do for your overall well-being, not just from a physical standpoint.
Did you go to an actual chiropractor after him or before you went to school, or?
I went a couple of times,
Okay,
but
all right.
you will actually learn that in chiropractic school, there are several people that get there that haven't ever been officially adjusted.
Huh.
So you also have the opposite end of the spectrum. Several students have grown up getting adjusted.
Yeah.
But I didn't come from a chiropractic family. I didn't know much about chiropractic, but that, like I said, that made sense to me from a physical structural standpoint, why you should be in alignment.
And why Sherman? Well, I mean, I'm guessing there's a bunch of schools.
Most people don't realize there are only 17 chiropractic colleges across the country.
Okay.
None of them are located in anywhere close to Ohio.
So you're like,
or in conjunction with any large universities. They're all private entities. So for me, the decision literally boiled down to whether I wanted to spend winter in Chicago or winter in South Carolina.
South Carolina won that one.
South Carolina, absolutely.
Absolutely won that one. Very cool. As far as with being here in Pickens, how have you seen your practice growing? And where do you have any? You talk about the EMT. Do you have any kind of target audience that you try to do? I heard that some do kids, some do. Yeah, I mean, obviously you talk about EMT. Is there something that you particularly focus on with your chiropractic?
Again, I am very much a wellness practitioner.
Okay.
So I can absolutely help get you out of pain. I can absolutely help with any acute condition that you're experiencing. But my preference is to help keep you on the wellness end of the spectrum.
Okay.
I think that's something else that people don't necessarily associate with chiropractic. Is chiropractic was birthed on the health promotion side of the spectrum, not the palliative side of the spectrum that the medical community is involved with.
Okay. Cool. And I'm gonna guess, are both businesses part of the chamber, or?
They are.
Okay.
They are.
And how long has been the Nexus Chiropractic been with the chamber? Do you know?
Since I got here in October of 21.
Okay.
Shortly after that.
Okay. Cool.
I knew that I wanted to join the chamber as soon as I got into the small town.
Okay. And then you've been in the same location as that, and where's that at?
209 East Main Street.
Okay. And that's right across from?
Right across the street from the courthouse.
Okay. Right across from.
You can see me when you're sitting at the stoplight on 178.
Okay. Cool. And how many employees do you have there, or how many?
None at Nexus. It's me, myself, and I.
You, yourself, and I. Okay.
I'm Brutus.
And Brutus. Who's Brutus?
Brutus is my office assistant.
Okay.
That's my dog.
Your dog? Okay. Very cool. Very cool. What kind of dog is Brutus?
Brutus is a mutt. He's a pound pup. Adopts, don't shop.
Nice. The best kind, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So we got Nexus. A little brief about that. And then something completely opposite end of the spectrum, right?
Yes. This is very much a left field project for me.
Where did this come from? And we're talking about the down low.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the down low opened for the Azalea Festival last year. When I had moved into my office, the Appalachian Ale House had been there.
Okay.
Appalachian Ale House had gone out of business in that first year, I think, that I was there. And I loved Appalachian Ale House when it was there.
Okay.
I thought it had such a cool environment, such a cool ambiance. So I was really disappointed to see them go. And then I watched the space sit empty for like a year and a half. And so eventually I just got nosy and called and asked what they wanted for the space. And it was in so much that I went, I don't have a clue what to do. I'm going to figure it out.
You're like,
Yes.
why not open a speakeasy? A speakeasy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the intention was not to open a speakeasy. That's just kind of the vibe that it ended up taking.
Okay.
The whole goal, again, I loved when Appalachian Ale House was there, and I just felt like Main Street needed some vitality.
Yeah.
It needed something fun. It needed a place to go, things to do. And so, again, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And so as I started renovating the space, the speakeasy vibe is just kind of what spoke to me.
Yeah.
Originally, I was just going to do beer and wine.
Yeah.
And then I settled on moonshine. And when I settled on moonshine, that was kind of my nod to the South. That was kind of the nod to, might not have been specifically what they were drinking in speakeasies, but that's what Southerners would
be drinking. Yeah.
Speakeasies. And so I had no intention of having a full service bar. I don't carry any other liquor. Okay. But I took all of your more popular bar drinks and made them with moonshine instead of their respective liquor. So I have a moonshine margarita. You wouldn't know that it's made with moonshine, not tequila.
Gotcha. And then, so moonshine only there?
Yes.
Okay.
Moonshine, beer, and wine.
Okay, beer and wine also. Okay, cool. So you have a couple different things there. And then how many employees are in there?
I have four bartenders plus myself.
Very cool. Very, very fun. And then what's special about the down low? Why come down to the down low?
I think it's a very unique space, and especially for Pickens. One of the biggest compliments that I get when people walk in the door, because it's small, it's very quaint. Mm-hmm. But one of the biggest compliments that I get when people walk in the door is that they feel like they're walking into a living room. They don't feel like they're walking into a bar.
Is that kind of more of the speakeasy vibe kind of thing? Okay.
Yes, I have a legit bookcase door. Like you have to pull on the candlestick to open the door. It's, again, a little bit more intimate, a little bit cozier. It's not loud. It's not your typical bar scene. It's
more of a, we're going to go chill.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Think coffee house vibe.
Alcoholic coffee house.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of special events, anything like that?
We do. So we do live music on the first Friday of the month.
Okay.
I have hosted Wine and Paint, which I intend to run quarterly. I'm trying to get a game night off the ground. Okay. Looking into murder mystery night.
Okay.
If anyone has any thoughts or ideas, I'd love to hear them.
Out, right? Yeah.
I, right now, I'm still in my first year, so I'm kind of throwing anything I can at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
I truly, genuinely want it to be a space for community engagement.
Yeah, because there's nothing, I'm guessing nothing else like it here in Pickens.
Not like that.
Okay.
Not like that.
Anything around that's even like that, or?
Greenville has a few speakeasies.
Okay.
That's the most I know of.
But nothing out this way that's even remotely.
Not that I can think of. No, it's different, and especially with the moonshine cocktails.
Yeah.
Like that's a niche. I think sometimes moonshine scares people away when they hear it.
Yeah, because you think like white lightning.
Yeah, you think you're
100% alcohol and like you can burn your throat.
Joe Bob.
Yeah.
The overalls.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure it's great. It's
that's why I wanted moonshine on board.
Yeah.
But they are legitimate cocktails.
Yeah.
Like,
So like you said, if you have a whatever, like you said margarita.
Yep.
What's like your favorite, the best drink there?
My personal favorite is moonshine
margarita. Okay.
Yeah. We sell a lot of old fashions.
Okay.
We sell a lot of the French 1898, which is a take on the French 75. I think it's what its official name is.
Okay.
We have a whiskey sour that's made with a bourbon style moonshine. Okay. We have a lemon drop. So
it's like all those taste just like regular drinks.
Right, correct.
But just made with
a slight variation.
Yeah.
Well, like we took some creative liberties.
Yeah, to make them a little bit, kind of make them unique.
Painstakingly went through that.
Lots of research time devoted to that. Oh, very cool. As far as with your businesses, I guess both of them, Nexus and we kind of do both. It's a little bit different having two businesses that you're doing here. But what's something that your business may do that people have no idea or would never expect? So like Nexus, or you can go down low, either way. What's something they would not guess?
I think the bulk of my clientele that comes into Nexus might come in because I have a pretty substantial background in health and fitness. So I consider myself a wellness practitioner. Chiropractic for me is just another tool in the wellness toolbox.
Okay.
So, fitness was my first passion. Fitness was my heart. So I institute a lot of that in my programming for people, in my treatment for people. A lot of health recommendations. I encourage people to use me as their health coach, their health practitioner.
Yeah.
As far as the down low goes, again, it's just unique. It's just different. I think one thing that I'm trying to push is that I'll close for private events.
Oh, okay.
And
So they can someone can rent out the space if they want. Okay.
Yep. For small groups. And like I said, if anybody has any ideas, I'm happy to host.
You're game for it.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. How do people contact you? Or do you have a website or?
Yeah. So booking for Nexus, you can do online. It's Nexus Chiropractic Pickens.
Okay.
.janeapp.com. The down low, probably Facebook, social media.
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram is kind of going to be the best mode of contact.
Yeah.
Messenger. We do have cell phones for both facilities.
Okay.
I'm a one-man show.
Yeah.
So you're welcome
And you're
to call or text.
juggling a lot of things, it sounds like, at one time. Yeah.
So you're welcome to call or text, but, expect a little bit of time for me to get back to you.
Okay. Pricing. Where are you at? So is this, we'll cover both. So Nexus, what is the adjustment run? Or does there do they, does it pan or how does that work?
Do not take insurance.
Okay.
I don't handle any insurance. But I try really hard to keep my pricing affordable.
Okay.
And I also do a 30-minute appointment time.
Okay.
So most chiropractors will book on a 10 or 15-minute appointment block.
Okay.
I like to schedule a 30-minute block just so I have a little bit more time with each of my patients.
Okay. So much more, a little bit more. This isn't a rack'em crack'em kind of deal.
No, I'm definitely not what you would consider a high volume practice.
Okay.
I like to have an intimate relationship with my patients.
Know your patients a little bit more. What's going on? Okay.
Absolutely. So your initial intake appointment is $100.
Okay.
That's an hour-long assessment. We'll go through your health history. I'll do a brief orthopedic exam, make sure I don't see any glaring red flags that say that I shouldn't be thrusting into.
Yeah, that's a good idea, right?
Barring everything checks out, then we'll go ahead and get you your first adjustment at that appointment.
Okay.
Appointments after that, like I said, they're 30 minutes in length. That appointment's $45. I don't do big care plans. It's not, you pay as you go. It's not.
There's no contractor or anything like that. So yeah,
Nope.
People come in and get what they need. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Down low.
Yeah. So
Obviously that's a yeah, I would say pricing's all over the place, I'm sure, but
actually it's not. I tried to keep it simple, stupid.
there's no cover charge, right? Okay, just making sure. Even on music nights or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
No cover charge. Though obviously the wine and paint had a prepay. If I get to hosting the murder mystery that I want to, that'll be a prepay kind of event. But like I said, I keep it simple, stupid. So craft beer is $8 for a draft. My cocktails are $10.
Okay.
Shot of moonshine's $8, and glass of wine's $8.
Oh, simple.
Yeah.
Easy. One of the questions I like to ask, or I guess since the second one, this is not long thing here, but if you could pick one new business to come into Pickens or change one thing in Pickens, what would it be?
Restaurants and entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm really excited about Lark's coming in.
Okay.
Just more variety.
Yeah. More
variety, more things to do. I'd love to see a few more boutiques downtown.
Okay.
Get some more foot traffic to downtown. I think we have such a cute area. Pickens it's a gem.
There's a lot of potential here.
There is a ton of potential here, and that's why I have fallen in love with the city, and I'm really proud to call it home now.
Very cool. Good deal. Well, that's it for us today with Tiffany, and I'm probably killed again, Orsina, right? Did I get it right? Orsina. Dr. Tiffany Orsina. If you want to find out more about her, we'll have links down below for Nexus Chiropractic and also the Down Low on Main. And thanks again for coming out, and we hope to see you in the next one.